Welcome to Tabitha's Way. Every week, families in our community rely on this food pantry for food and support. But many people have not seen what happens behind the scenes. In this short tour, we'll show you how we turn donations into meals, how volunteers make it all possible, and the impact that we're having in the community. I just want to quickly say thank you so much for coming tonight. If I don't get a chance, let me just say God bless you and thank you for what you're doing and for showing up today. So this is our volunteer entry. And one of the things that you'll notice is we put this stat board up. This is just this location alone. We had 14,000 volunteer hours. We had 23,000 households and 77,000 individuals. So you can kind of see our monthly stats. I know for October, we've served 7,447 individuals. And we served 200 more households than we had the prior month. So food insecurity continues to go up. Our organization is seeing a 30% increase year over year in the number of households that need help with food assistance. A lot of that is economic factors that are driving these things. The other thing I wanted to point out is we recently received the Governor's Spirit of Service Award. And we hang this plaque here because although this is on our wall in our food pantry, this is a direct reflection of the families and individuals that have come and helped serve here. We do not feed 77,000 individuals alone. It takes a lot of hands to do this work. And we're honored to do it, but we're so grateful for this recognition because we know that this is a community effort. Tabitha's Way has been around for over 15 years, and some of these volunteers have been volunteering with us since we started. We also have service missionaries. We also have schools that come with kids with different abilities that come in. So our volunteers come in, they check in, they get their blue aprons on, they get their name tags on, and they come in and volunteer. Volunteers do everything from stocking our food pantry, sorting food, helping serve clients, doing our check-ins and intakes. So one of the things that you will notice about our food pantries, they're set up like grocery stores. We believe in serving people in dignity and respect, making sure people have the choice of what foods that they want. 50% or more of the population we're serving are actually children. So making sure that they have fresh, nutritious foods, eggs, milk, cheese, frozen meats, and produce available to them when they come in. Our clients can shop in our food pantries once every 14 days, and the amount of food they receive is based off of the household size. So larger household size can get more food. I also want to point out up here, these are our grocery rescue partners. Grocery rescue is going out to grocery stores and restaurants and organizations to collect food. The bulk of the fresh foods we receive here come from these organizations. So we go out every single day and pick up food that comes into our food pantry. We were blessed this year to receive a $1 million Bishop Storehouse Commodities grants, which makes sure we have milk and meat and produce in our food pantries. So we're tremendously blessed, but we can't do this again without the help of these many, many partners. When individuals first come into our food pantry, we do what's called a needs assessment or an intake. So we sit down with them, and the goal isn't to create a barrier for food assistance, it's to identify what is the root cause of your food insecurity and how can we help give you a resource so that you can get out of food insecurity, which is really important. Tabitha's Way's mission is to help families and individuals through tough times. What is tough times? It's back surgery, cancer, divorce, abandonment. By providing temporary food assistance, 75% of the families we serve use our food pantry for 3 months or less. It's truly temporary food assistance. And then recommending resources for self-reliance. What does that look like? I had a gentleman who came into our food pantry who is in his mid to late 40s. He was a truck driver by trade. He was involved in an accident that had a fatality. And he just says, I can't drive truck. I can't do it. So he came into our food pantry. We helped identify the fact that he needed a new career path, right? So what we did is we partnered with another local organization, helped him identify a career path, and in 3 months, he no longer needed our food pantry. That's our goal. This is what we call our home delivery section. We actually provided food for over 1,200 households last year. And these are seniors, individuals with disabilities, or individuals who cannot come to our food pantry. And these are the most vulnerable of our population. So we do online orders. We partner with an organization called Pantry to Porch. They're volunteers that show up, pick their orders. So we fill their orders, they come and pick up their boxes and they deliver them directly to their door. So in addition to the households that we're serving in our pantry, we're serving food outside by doing home deliveries. Right now, our food pantries are serving between 100 to 125 families every 3 hours. As I mentioned earlier, we rely on what we call grocery rescue to get the bulk of our fresh foods. You cannot pick up a gallon of milk and deliver it to us. Because of food temperature regulations, we're required to go to only certain organizations to pick up food. However, the bulk of our shelf-stable foods does come from food drives and things like that. We need refrigerated box trucks that go out several times. They start at 6 o'clock in the morning every morning. They roll out, they go out to stores, fill the truck, bring it back, unload it. Go back out again, fill the truck, bring it back, unload it. They do that 3 to 4 times a day to make sure that our freezers and refrigerators are completely filled. Now, once we receive food, food has to be checked and sorted into food categories. We have to make sure that the food is safe. We are highly regulated. We have every single regulation that a restaurant or grocery rescue does or food producer. So we have very complex core processes that require paid, competent staff to do this work. Our organization has 24 paid staff across all 3 of our food pantry locations and our mobile pantry to keep our operations running. However, for every paid staff member that we have 25 to 30 volunteers backing them up to do this work. That's how many hands it takes. So every single day we need at least 30 volunteers in here every shift doing this work. So a lot of hands, lots of work. If you look at everything that you see right now in this warehouse, this is about 2 months worth of food if we're lucky. Those freezers and refrigerators behind you are filled and emptied every single day. That food pantry out there that when you walk through, everything that you see in there by the end of this evening, it'll probably be gone. This area here, you can see we have a group of volunteers that are here that are sorting food, these food categories. So food has to be checked to see, does it have the nutrition label? Is it dented? Does it have rust on it? Is it opened? Is it past the expiration date? And there's different expiration dates depending on the acidity of food, food type, and the food container that it's in. So all of these regulations, we have to go through these processes to make sure that the food is safe and good. Now, the good news is any of the food that is not kept goes to our pig farmers. So we are, as much as possible, zero waste. We can't give them meats, and apparently pigs don't eat spices, go figure. Right now, you'll see that we have stacks we're preparing right now for our holiday meals. Our organization will do over 3,500 holiday meals this year. And that is complete Thanksgiving and Christmas meals that go out to local families. I would also like to mention that almost 400 of those Thanksgiving meals will be going to military, veteran, and first responder households in our community. So when we receive food, food has to be weighed in. We have to log what date we received it and the source of the food. Then it has to go into an inventory process of checking. And then once it's checked, it goes into our inventory again and then out to our staging area. So we're a first in, first out. So there's a lot of processes that the food has to go through to get in onto our shelves to make sure that it's safe, and then also that there's minimal waste for our organization. You will also see that we have USDA foods. Back in the time of the Great Depression, when people were literally starving to death, the United States decided we needed to have a process to make sure that never happens again. And from that, we have what's called today the Emergency Food Network. The Emergency Food Network is ran by a federal nonprofit called Feeding America. Feeding America is tasked to make sure that every single state in the U.S. has a organization that is their partner organization to set up a local network. In Utah, we have the Utah Food Bank. Utah Food Bank also fights food insecurity. Food banks provide food to food pantries. Food pantries provide food to individuals. So about 15 to 20% of the food we receive comes from the Utah Food Bank. So it's federal foods, USDA foods, coming from the Utah Food Bank, from Feeding America to Utah Food Bank, down to our food pantries. I like to explain it this way. Utah Food Bank is the I-15 of Utah. Tabitha's Way is the city and county roads, where we partner together. We're both in the food security business, but we have different functions and roles within our mission of what we do. The second group of volunteers that come in after 8:30, they're preparing crates of food that get used to stock on our food pantry shelves. So they'll fill out all of the different food categories. They'll go through the food and say, do we have enough beans on our shelves? So right now we know about how many households we're gonna serve on average. So we'll stock that much plus a little bit more on our shelves with each shift. So our volunteers come in and say, okay, we need this many bags of beans. We need this many bags of rice. We need this much noodles. We need this much produce. And so making sure everything's stocked on the shelf. In addition to food, we also provide diapers, baby formula, baby wipes, and hygiene products. Very basic stuff, but the essentials that are needed. So the second shift will take the food from here. Once it's safe, deemed safe, then goes onto our shelves. And then the next group, the next shift comes in and they're working to serve our clients. So some of the things that they do is they check them in. So each client, we create an account for them. Then we do the intake needs assessment with them. And again, it's not to create a barrier for food assistance, it's to figure out what is that root cause. A lot of people think that the only people who use a food pantry is the individuals who don't work, or that are addicted to drugs or whatever the situation is, or don't want to work. And that is not true. The bulk of the families we're serving here are families that are housed or employed, but are going through tough times, situations that you don't plan for. We don't plan for cancer. We don't plan for a spouse to just walk out and leave us. So until there's no more tough times, we will need food pantries to help serve our community. So we believe in what we call no hunger zones. A no hunger zone is not that no one's hungry. It's that no one need go hungry, because our communities have invested in a persistent solution to fight food insecurity. We have enough food in our community. It's about getting the food resources to our food pantry and getting the people here to help us to serve those individuals. That's by and large what food pantries do. And so that is our mission, that is our goal, is to establish a no hunger zone in our community so that our children's children don't have to worry about what they need to do if they're food insecure. They can come here. But that will take a community to rally around this cause and work together. But I believe with all my heart that this is something we can do. Thank you for taking a tour today of Tabitha's Way. Everything you saw today was made possible through a community of individuals who care. From donors, volunteers, and community partners who believe no neighbor should go hungry. So if you'd like to be a part of our mission, there's a few ways that you can help. You can volunteer, you can donate, or you can visit one of our pantries to learn more about our mission. Every act of support helps local families in need. Visit tabithasway.org to learn how you can help or get involved.